LinkedIn's AI-powered job search can help you find the most relevant roles based on your goals and experience. It cannot help you find something to talk about in the elevator.
So, ride any dragons this weekend?
It can help you find your next job just by describing it in your own words. It cannot stop your coworker from describing their dreams.
So I was flying, right?
And while we can't help you advance in the office foosball tournament, LinkedIn can help you advance in your career. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
Morning decisions. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts. I'm your resident medium, Jennifer, and I welcome you tonight into the spirit parlor. I have the windows open and the soft nighttime breeze is coming in. Settle in close and light a candle if that feels right to you. I already have the tea brewing. While you're joining me tonight, we will be talking about what happens after the basics of intuition work, psychic work, and mediumship, after you've learned about the clairs, after you received a few messages, what happens after the novelty fades and the real work begins. This episode is for those moments when spirit contact feels subtle, confusing, quiet, or even odd. When you're not sure if you're doing it right. When the messages don't arrive like a booming voice, but like a whisper. Let's talk about that space. Most spirit communication doesn't happen when we're fully alert, and it doesn't happen when we're completely asleep either. It happens in the in-between, that liminal state, the place of hypnagogia, trance, daydream, creative flow, where the mind loosens its grip on logic, time, and linear thought. You might recognize this space as that drifting feeling right before sleep, or the mental softness during meditation, or that creative zone where ideas seem to arrive fully formed. This is not a weakness of consciousness. It's a different mode of perception. And in this state, your nervous system relaxes. The brain waves slow. The filter between consciousness and subconsciousness thins. Spirit doesn't shout its way through the doorway. It kind of slips in sideways. And that's why messages often arrive as images instead of words, feelings instead of facts, memories that don't feel like they're yours, or sudden knowings you just can't explain. You're not meant to force this state. You're meant to allow it, to surrender to it. I often like to remind myself that you cannot be analytical and intuitive at the same time. So practice going back and forth between those two modes, or recognizing which each feels like and what routines you can cultivate for yourself to shift into that intuitive space. And what about the times when it feels like spirit has gone quiet? Let's talk about that silence. Every developing medium experiences dry spells, times when the connection feels gone, muted, or incredibly subtle, making you question as if it's even there. This doesn't mean you've lost your ability. You can't possibly. Your ability is innate. It is part of you always. It doesn't mean spirit is disappointed in you. It definitely doesn't mean that you're failing. Silence can be part of development. Think of it like working out in the gym or not working out. The rest days matter. Try not to analyze yourself and your gifts too much. I can certainly relate to that. I have had moments where just going about my day-to-day life, something dramatic happens or something surprises me, and then I have that thought of, how come you didn't just know, or how come you didn't pick up on this? And I've had other people ask me too, like, how come you didn't pick up on this certain vibe or this certain situation? And in truth, we can't look at ourselves that way. It's damaging to question ourselves in that manner. We are human and we are living this physical life, and we have to have times where we're just doing that. And that is okay. I have also found in my own experience and hearing from others that when you first start this spiritual journey of awakening your third eye or tapping into your intuition, sometimes when you do that, there are these big firework moments where you're like, wow, this is amazing. I can't explain it other than metaphysical, and I know it's true. I want more of that. Or it happens before you start your journey. It's kind of like this spiritual demonstration that makes you pay attention, that makes you suddenly channel your energy into this metaphysical world. And then as you continue to work on your skills and your interests and do practice readings, whatnot, it almost seems like things quiet down and become more subtle. I was just talking to my partner about this last week, that a lot of times in mediumship now, it doesn't feel as if it is separate from me, where in the past it would be like, this is clearly spirit talking. This doesn't feel like me. And I almost feel like we're blending so much now that I have to just have faith and trust and give what I get in a reading. And that's true. The information in my readings is still as wonderful as ever. Things shift. And will the dramatics come back? Maybe. Will it get even more quiet in the sensation of things? Who knows? What is important to remember is that you trust in yourself. You trust in the energy you're working with, and you step up with faith. That is the most important thing. And it is such a big lesson to learn that how could it be surprising that this is what happens, that things can become subtle and quiet? Because yes, we need to learn to trust. We need to learn to have faith. And that is the perfect classroom in which to do it. So yes, silence is part of development. During quiet periods, a few things may be happening. Your perception could be recalibrating. Your discernment is sharpening. Your nervous system is integrating previous experiences. Or, like I mentioned, spirit is teaching you to trust without constant confirmation. Sometimes spirit steps back so you can step forward. And sometimes the quiet is an invitation to listen differently. Let's move on to talk about how spirits can use memory and emotion to communicate. Spirit communication rarely arrives as a neat sentence. Instead, spirit often borrows your memory, your emotional vocabulary. Let me say that again. Your emotional vocabulary and your symbolic language. That's why messages can feel fragmented, symbolic, or deeply personal. You might think, why am I remembering my stepfather right now? Maybe there are aspects of your stepfather that this spirit is relying on you to recall and connect with because they had similar traits. Spirit might show you your own childhood kitchen or a song you haven't heard in years, or you'll feel a sudden wave of your own grief, joy, or nostalgia. Not because it's your memory at that moment, it's because it's the closest match your mind has to translate the energy. And spirit speaks in felt sense. It's closer to daydreams than conversation. And yes, sometimes the message feels so personal to you that you doubt it's real, that it's for someone else. But that doesn't make it imaginary. It makes it efficient. It is such a great shortcut for spirit to use items and events and memories and feeling that you already have. Think of it as like you're playing a game of charades and you already have all of the clues in front of you. It's going to be much easier to pick up on what someone is trying to communicate to you instead of starting over from scratch. So let's talk about your own imagination versus spirit and this sense of a false divide. Let's dismantle that myth. Imagination is not the enemy of mediumship. I know so many people who say, how do I know it wasn't just my imagination? Your imagination is your mind's eye. Your imagination is the interface. When spirit communicates, it has to pass through something. That something is your inner imagery, your emotional range, your mental symbols. The difference between imagination and spirit is not what you see, it's how it arrives. Spirit communication often feels slightly unexpected, like it's out of the blue. It's not following your last train of thought. It could be emotionally charged without personal context. It can be persistent and repeating. Pay attention to those repeating moments, even if you doubted them the first or second time. And also, spirit communication could be neutral in tone, even when it's emotional in content. Your imagination tends to feel effortful. Spirit tends to feel given. And here is the paradox. The more you fear imagination, the more you block spirit. Discernment doesn't come from shutting imagination down. It comes from noticing patterns, signatures, and resonance over time. You want to have your analytical mind take a back seat. You don't want to overanalyze everything until there's nothing left. And here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Not all intuitive information comes from spirit. Sometimes you're reading the living. Every person emits emotional, mental, and energetic information, and you can read this without contacting those who have passed at all. And this, of course, is intuitive perception, not mediumship. You might pick up on emotional states, stress patterns, relationship dynamics, or past experiences. This is not less than spirit communication. It's simply a different channel. And understanding the difference helps reduce confusion, overwhelm, and energetic fatigue. And it allows spirit contact to be cleaner and more intentional. All in all, trust the quiet threads. Mediumship isn't about constant connection. It's about attunement. It's about learning to trust the subtle thread that runs beneath thought, beneath effort, and certainly beneath fear. Sometimes spirit speaks, sometimes it waits, and yes, sometimes it teaches you through its absence. If your path feels quiet right now, you're not broken. You haven't lost anything. Start listening in a new way. Stay curious, stay hopeful, trust yourself, trust spirit, stay gentle, don't be critical, and remember the liminal space is never empty. It's so full of energy. Thank you for sitting with me tonight in my spirit parlor. Until next time, keep the candles lit and the doorway open, and keep practicing, keep learning, keep trusting. Take care.